Okay, I can't tell if I'm on. Jennifer, if you can see me, can you say hi? It says live, but it's not recording from what I see. I'm gonna wait and see if anybody comments. Hope I'm in the right spot. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry, it wasn't doing a little clock like I'm used to seeing it. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started because, sorry, I'm trying to get situated. I haven't done a live for any length of time in our new home, and I was trying to find a spot with decent lighting and a good spot to set my camera, and I guess this is just going to have to do. So, and my husband's trying to get kids settled. They just finished eating, but I can't promise that we won't have some background noise or interruptions, but that's life, right? So I am going to talk about relationship, or excuse me, let me back up. I'm going to talk about essential oils for mental health, and I want to focus, I talked to Jennifer before the end of January, and we talked about February being, you know, the month of Valentine's Day, as everybody knows, and kind of focusing on love and relationships. So I'm going to spend some time tonight focusing on essential oils that can be helpful in your emotional wellness with your relationships with others, whether it be a spouse, friends, children, coworkers, just other people in your life. So I'm going to spend some time talking about relationships, and then I'm also going to go into a little more depth into some family pattern stuff too. So that just gives you a little bit of introduction there. So let me get my notes prepared here. I have a lot of notes. I wanted to make sure I'm thorough tonight. So the reason I wanted to talk about this is, so mental health obviously is very important to me. So my name, let me back up. I should have said this first, but my name is Meredith Ernzen, and I'm a licensed clinical marriage and family therapist. Thank you, Jennifer. My hair's kind of all over the place and the light's showing it where I'm at. And I have been a therapist for about actually a little over 10 years, almost 11 years now. And I've worked in a variety of different settings. I've done community mental health, I've done private practice, I've done work with military families, and then I've done some work. I was trying to think. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, I've done a lot of parenting classes and that type of thing too. And then most recently, I've also done work in the geriatric setting, doing a support group for those 65 and over who are struggling with mental health issues. So I've got a big variety of different areas that I've worked in to specialize in mental health and the different aspects of how age and different family systems, I've worked with individuals, families, and all of that. So with that being said, I'm going to jump right in. Mental health is very important to me, obviously, not just professionally, but personally too. I've spoke pretty publicly in the last year about, well, probably not the last year, probably the last 6 months, on my own struggle with anxiety and depression and some things that I've struggled with. I would say the first time I recall experiencing any form of depression was my senior year of high school, and didn't really recognize what it was at the time. It was a social issue that triggered that. And then I dealt with it again my second year of graduate school. Of course, a lot of stress, and the education was excellent. Thankfully, professors recommended we seek out counseling ourselves so we could put ourselves in that seat that we're going to ask clients to sit in. So that was a good experience for me, and I had a really great therapist at that point in time. And then most recently, I've spoken about my experience with postpartum anxiety and depression, and it really kind of snuck up on me after a move and really exacerbated itself after that. So through that experience, I learned a lot about family history and how family history factors into my own mental health. I know it up here because of my education, and I know from a family systems theory perspective that family dynamics play a role in pretty much everything in our lives. However, I hadn't really experienced it to that point where it was affecting me in such a negative way, because I have a really good supportive family that I feel like has really put me in a good position in my life as far as support goes. So I didn't really ever dissect it so much until I started asking like my grandmother, aunts and uncles, and my parents. It expanded to my cousins. I started talking more about mental health and learned a lot about the anxiety and depression that other family members in my life throughout the generations have experienced. And it really got me more interested in learning more about those patterns. So I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit, but I'm going to do just a general introduction to what oils I recommend for mental health in general, and then I'll go more in depth. So let me see here. Make sure I've got my stuff laid out so I can tell you in order here. So I want to really talk about how we can take care of ourselves with essential oils to help promote healthy family interactions and patterns. There was a research study done, I believe in 2015, that Rebecca Hinsey just shared on a podcast that I listened to about 2 weeks ago, that the number one predictor of family satisfaction and happiness is random acts of kindness. And I thought, well, that should be so simple. But if you think about how busy we are in our lives, it's not simple. I think about it every day. We get up and we get into a routine and we're going and going and going so much. It's hard to just stop and do things. Just a random kindness, like, you know, buy your kid their favorite snack they like and just show up with it without them begging for it and throwing a tantrum at the grocery store, or putting a note in your spouse's lunchbox, or laying out their favorite coffee cup before the day starts, or whatever. Just little random acts to let people know that you care. So I wanted to share that because I thought that just really resonated with me. And so one of the things that I like to do is to diffuse things that make my family happy. So I like to diffuse things like citrus oils because they're great for improving your mood. One of my favorites is wild orange, but I love bergamot. Grapefruit would probably be my all-time favorite if I got down to it. I like to drink it in my water because it encourages me to drink my water, but I also just love the fragrance of it itself. So any of those citrus oils, so on a basic level for me, if I'm struggling with a low mood, or my kids are just down in the dumps about something, or I know we're going to have a stressful, overwhelming day or a week, I really want to diffuse those citrus oils. I do it a lot in my practice as well when I know somebody's coming in with depression or grief. That's something simple I can do, and it doesn't usually trigger any, I mean, I haven't ever had anybody say they're triggered by a citrus oil. So it's something basic that I can start with before I discuss with clients in the therapy office if they would prefer or not prefer to have oils diffused. So citrus oils are great for mood improvement, and they're a really simple, easy tool to use. So like I said, there's a ton of different ones to think about. And so we also, doTERRA has their buy one get one going on this week. So the petitgrain is what today's deal of the day is. So they're different every day, just so you know, if you've never participated in a BOGO with doTERRA. So you buy one oil and you get a different oil free. So petitgrain is a citrus oil, and it's derived from the leaf of the bitter orange. So it doesn't have like that typical citrus smell. It's a little more bitter. But it's really great for reducing anxiety, and it's just good for a lot of things too. So that's another one that I wanted to mention because it is a citrus oil. And with that today, you get a free lavender. And then I also wanted to touch on more calming. So I talked about the petitgrain, but balance is kind of my go-to. Lavender just doesn't appeal to me as far as the senses go. I always tell people, you know, just experiment a little bit. Take some time to smell different oils and see what appeals to you. I just don't love the smell of lavender. A lot of people love it. But balance would be my go-to. And balance is a blend that has a variety of different oils combined. And so it is a grounding blend. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but I like to reach for it and either put it in my diffuser. It is not an internal oil, but you want to put it on your skin, back of your neck, bottoms of your feet. I love putting it in my car diffuser because traveling can usually be pretty stressful with children. So those are just kind of some things I wanted to touch on, and things that you can offer really quickly to do kind of your random act of kindness. You know, if somebody's having a tough time, hey, rub some of this on the back of your neck, or let's just take a minute and inhale some wild orange and see if you're feeling better. I like to do with my kids, and I like to teach them to do that for themselves as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically, like I mentioned, on relationships and how oils could be used to work through your own relationship issues within yourself, but also in relationship with other people. So some of these kind of surprised me. I've used different oils for different things for probably 7 years now, but I'm still learning a lot. So the first one I'm going to talk about is geranium, and this oil is known as the oil of love and trust. So geranium, just so you know, sorry. Okay, it reconnected. Sorry about that. Hopefully, Kelly or Jennifer, can you still hear me? Sorry, I just got a reconnection notice. Somebody give me... Okay, good. Thank you, ladies. I wanted to show you the book I'm using. So the latest book, the latest reference that I'm using is Emotions and Essential Oils. Can you see? Sorry, that glare there. There we go. It's a little bit better. Is an excellent reference. It's not the greatest picture. Sorry, guys. But it's called Emotions and Essential Oils, and it's a reference guide for emotional healing. So geranium is the first one. I'm not sure where it cut off, but geranium is the first one I'm going to talk about, and it's the oil of love and trust. Geranium restores confidence in the innate goodness of others and in the world. It facilitates trust, especially when individuals have lost trust in others due to difficult life circumstances. It also assists in reestablishing a strong bond to one's mother and father when there has been a loss of trust in relationships. Geranium encourages emotional honesty, love, and forgiveness. It fosters receptivity to human love and connection. So geranium aids in healing the broken heart. So if you think about that, that could be great for so many different things. Whether it's as simple as you yelled at your child because in the moment you were frantic to get somewhere and you were short with them, get your geranium out and sit with them and try to have that repair conversation. Say, I was really upset. I shouldn't have yelled at you. We were in a hurry and we were going to be late, and repair that. But it could be very simple, or it could be something very in-depth as far as relationship loss that has been broken and is trying to be reestablished. If a divorce has happened and families have been split apart, reconnecting between parent and child, reconnecting with adoptive parents after you've explored who those people are, and connection is possible. Within the foster care system, I think it would be a really great one to offer. So those kinds of things. Trying to think who else would really benefit. Oh, abuse victims. I think as you're working through trauma and abuse within yourself and forgiving a situation that's happened that's really difficult and painful. So reestablishing trust can take a ton of time and definitely deserves a lot of support through that process, but I think geranium can be really helpful in that. So it addresses the negative emotions of abandoned, loss, distrusting, unforgiving, unloving, disheartened, heavy-hearted, and grieving. So in instances where someone has lost a loved one, it would be a really good oil to have on hand as you work through grief. The next one I'm going to talk about is ginger, and it is the oil of empowerment. And I'm sharing this one because I really think that ginger can be utilized when addressing some of those trust issues to overcome some of that. So anybody who's experienced difficult interactions in any relationship knows that it's really hard to confront the difficult stuff. And not all of us are in a confident place to address those issues easily. So once you've gotten to that point where you're ready to address that, I really think this oil of empowerment could be helpful in finding your bravery and addressing whatever repair needs to happen there. So ginger, again, is the oil of empowerment, and it holds no reservations. This oil has a purpose and will fulfill it. Ginger powerfully persuades individuals to be fully present and participate in life. It teaches that to be successful in life, one must be wholly committed to it. Excuse me. Ginger addresses deep patterns of victim mentality. Excuse me. Get a drink. Sorry, guys. Which is evidenced by feelings of powerlessness, believing everything is outside one's control, refusing to take responsibility for life, or blaming life circumstances on other people or outside influences. Victims feel stuck as they decentralize or disown responsibility and blame others for their misfortunes. So it's really not about confronting other people necessarily, but it's also about taking control of the situation and saying, you know what, So some bad things have happened in my life, but I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to be a survivor and overcome some of that. I really work with a lot of people on that and stepping up to the plate and saying, I'm going to take ownership for my life at this point. I may not have always had control over everything that's happened, but I have control from this point forward. So here's what I'm going to do with that and take some action on making my life the best quality of life as possible. Okay, the next one is the free oil that comes with the BOGO today, and that is lavender. And the lavender is the oil of communication and calm. So we think about it as being calming, but we don't think about it as helping with communication. But if you think about it, in order to have a good, meaningful conversation, you need to be in a calm, present state. So lavender aids verbal expression and calming the mind. Specifically, it calms the insecurities that are often felt when one risks their true thoughts and feelings. So really putting yourself out there and being vulnerable. Lavender addresses a deep fear of being seen and heard. Individuals in need of lavender hide within, blocking their true self-expression. While they may be going through the motions of outward expression, they're actually holding back their innermost thoughts and feelings. The expression is not connected to the heart or soul. Lavender supports individuals in releasing the tension and constriction that stems from withheld expression. This bottleneck in communication can result in worried and racing thoughts, anxiousness, and sleep disruption. Due to past experiences, they may feel unsafe or fearful of expressing themselves because of potential rejection. Often they don't allow themselves space to get in touch with all they truly think and feel. Their true voice is therefore trapped within and goes unexpressed. Strong feelings of being unlovable, unimportant, or unheard can accompany this condition. So if you think about that, if you paired that geranium, ginger, and lavender and even layered them on, then you're going to be able to step up and you're going to be able to calmly communicate with that person if you feel a repair needs to happen, or just to confront someone who has made you vulnerable and taken advantage of you. So if it's been an abuse situation, confronting that person and moving forward. Oh, what did Jennifer say? Another good reason to use this oil daily. We all need help communicating. Absolutely. Absolutely. I always encourage myself and everybody else that I interact with to not talk with your emotions, but stay calm and get in a place of calm so that you can communicate effectively and not regret what comes out of your mouth. The next one that I want to talk about that is really great for relationships is marjoram. And that oil is the oil of connection. So marjoram aids those who are unable to trust others or form meaningful relationships. This inability to trust often stems from harsh life experiences. These individuals develop a fear of close connection in relationships. They may tend toward reclusive behaviors, protecting themselves even further by abstaining from social interactions. They may also protect themselves by unconsciously sabotaging long-term relationships. Marjoram shows the barriers they have formed to protect themselves from others. It reveals patterns of aloofness, distancing oneself from other people, or being cold. Those in need of marjoram oil most likely use these protective coping strategies unintentionally. Deep down, they desire the intimate connection they subconsciously sabotage. So if someone's really been hurt, marjoram would be a really great one to help them overcome those fears and the sabotaging patterns that have started happening in their lives for self-preservation. You have good intention. You're not wanting to get hurt again or engage in patterns of destruction or dysfunction and keep those patterns going in your family. So marjoram would be a really great one to help you pause and repair some of that within yourself to work through it so you're not passing that on to the next generation. What was my next one? Oh, it's the BOGO. Petitgrain. So petitgrain is the oil of ancestry, which is very fascinating to me. So petitgrain invokes a deep appreciation for positive forms of ancestral knowledge, wisdom, and family history. Sorry, guys. Took on my throat, and I did not bring my lemon, which was really helpful, into the room with me. So I'm just going to power through. All individuals carry a portion of their ancestors' lives and stories within them, physically, emotionally, and through inherited traditions. Think about that. I mean, that's all-encompassing. Petitgrain illuminates the eternal connection to all previous generations that weaves its way through the present generation, and on to the next. It reminds individuals that it was by their ancestors' sacrifice they have the opportunity to experience this life. So that's putting it in a positive light. If you think about that, there's so many wonderful things that our families have typically passed on to us, and there are great things that you want to sustain and keep going and pass on to your children or future generations. However, there are often so many patterns that are not things we want to continue. In this way, pedigreeing is also a great aid in healing a complicated family history. It invites individuals to accept the humanness of their ancestors. I love that. So accepting that everyone in their lives and in their family history has been human, and that they are flawed and we all make mistakes. Instead of avoiding the pain of the past, pedigreeing encourages thoughtful awareness of how to heal wounds in the family line. It reveals patterns and tendencies of unconsciously repeating family mistakes. Individuals in need of pedigreeing may be unable or unwilling to depart from their family's way of thinking. Instead, they follow the footsteps of their predecessors and ancestral traditions. So pedigreeing reminds individuals that through accepting their ancestry, they can find peace, clarity, wisdom, and empathy for their own journey through this life. So it addresses the negative emotions of disowning your ancestry if you're trying to just stay as far away from that as possible and reject it, but yet needs to be worked through. Repeating negative family patterns, duty-bound, loyalty to unhealthy traditions, and dishonoring progenitors. So it really evokes that feeling of pioneering and kind of treading your own path and overcoming. So chain breaking, cultivating new healthy traditions, embracing positive family connections, and making the most of the positives that those family members have passed on to you rather than maximizing the negative. Okay. The last piece of what I want to talk about is a blend that I discovered about a year ago and I really love. So it's backwards, but it's DDR Prime, and you can get it in soft gel form or you can get it in the oil. I prefer to do the oil. I just feel like it lasts me longer, and then I put it in my veggie capsules and just fill them daily. So I want to share with you, where'd my other page go? There it is. First, I'm going to share with you what DDR Prime is and how it works, and then I want to talk a little bit about a 30-day study that I have read on and share that information with you. So DDR Prime is the oil of transformation. So you can see why I wanted to kind of jump into that after talking about the other oils that are helpful in addressing family issues. So the oil of transformation. DDR Prime works emotionally as well as physically with the cycles of life and death and personal transformation. Let me back up just a second. So the ingredients in DDR Prime, because it is a blend, so it is, make sure I say this right, is a cellular complex, not necessarily a blend, but a complex of frankincense, wild orange, lychee, thyme, clove, summer savory, niaouli, and lemongrass. So by putting off the old, individuals become free to experience the new. So if you think about, we just talked about the pedigreeing and how we're addressing those past family patterns and trying to overcome those and create new, functional, healthy relationships and patterns in our family systems. Pairing that with the oil transformation would be really helpful in this way. So by putting off the old, individuals become free to experience the new. This is transformation. DDR Prime supports the body's sick or damaged cells. So this is going to a cellular level, and I love this stuff. So DDR Prime supports the body's sick or damaged cells to either transition to death or to transform, repair, and renew. Through the help and support of this blend, individuals can assist their bodies, cells, energy, and emotions in returning to a balanced, healthy, and authentic state. DDR Prime is particularly supportive in releasing all types of negative family patterns, which are recorded in the body itself in the DNA. So if you think about that, that's amazing. This gift from the earth, all these oils that we derive from plants and flowers, and the blend that's in here. If you think about that, it addresses the DNA in our bodies. It is essentially suited for those who struggle with debilitating circumstances, as it helps to relieve feelings of doubt, disbelief, despair, and burden. It teaches individuals to reclaim their life energy and to believe that change is possible. DDR Prime supports the process of regaining health and vitality by encouraging the release of the old and the birth of the new. I just love this stuff. It has been so helpful for me. The recommended dosage is 4 drops. If you don't do the soft gel, if you do the oil, 4 drops twice a day. But this research study was done by Hilary Lemay. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Hilary. She did a 30-day study, and I believe it was last summer. And so she did a study using the DDR prime, and here, where was it at? So she either recommended rolled down the spine and the feet, or taken internally in the soft gel form 3 times a day for 30 days. So, and you want to note that factoring in the bio-individuality. So basically saying everybody's body is different, and that we're all going to use oils differently, and they're all going to affect us differently. But this 30-day study was pretty consistent in a lot of how the outcomes were, just like I mentioned before. So lavender doesn't necessarily give me a feeling of calm, but cedarwood does. It took some experimentation. I don't dislike lavender, it just doesn't work as well for me. Okay, so these people that were participating in this study rolled the DDR prime down their spine and their feet, or took a gel cap, soft gel, internally 3 times a day for 30 days. So they experienced better sleep, feelings of more calm, increase in focus, and increased expressive language. Those are the top 4 things that I noticed on the pie chart that she shared. And I just thought it was really powerful because she really focused on the sleep. And I never thought the DDR prime, I thought, it's really repairing a lot of what we're being exposed to on a regular basis, because it's addressing the cellular, at a cellular level. But I didn't think about that repair of sleep. So it's addressing things that you're dealing with throughout your day. So your emotions, organ stress, just anything that you're really interacting with, it's really helping your body eliminate that, from the toxicity of it from your body on an emotional and physical level. So for kids, they recommended, hold on, I wanted to touch on this. So I read about the DDR prime as far as the emotional piece goes, but I also wanted to explain. So DDR prime helps protect the body against oxidative stress to cellular DNA. So it touched on that a little bit, but I wanted to tell you what oxidative stress is. So oxidative stress is an imbalance between the production of free radicals and the ability of the body to detoxify their harmful effects through, I'm not going to get this right, neutralization, there we go, sorry, I didn't write very clearly, by antioxidants. So basically it prevents a breakdown in DNA. So they made recommendations for adults and kids, but I really wanted to share this piece on kids. So, how many of our kids are just totally overstimulated because there's so much going on in our world, whether it's lots of activities, our schedules are super busy because we're trying to do it all as parents or grandparents, whoever the caretaker is. Schools are trying to have maximum performance on their tests, so there's more activities than ever before. I was just talking to a mom's group I was in, and one of my friends made a comment that her mom had said, you guys are so busy, your kids are doing so many activities, we never did half as much stuff. So I could see why your kids are overwhelmed and having meltdowns. It's true, there's more available than ever before, and there's so much more connection between our cell phone technology that we didn't have 30 years ago, or, sorry, I'm hearing children, or just social media, just everything we have access to at our fingertips anymore. So they recommend it for kids. Some schools don't necessarily jump on the bandwagon with essential oils, so they recommend using diffuser jewelry. You can get like the lava bead bracelets or necklaces. And so they can wear those with just a couple drops of oil, so that will diffuse throughout the day. You can create a healthy routine for sleep around what you diffuse and what you roll on at night. And that's a routine that you have your kid, you teach them, and they can do it themselves as they get a little bit older and get in the habit of doing it. Keep rollers in the car, in your purse, in your diaper bag, so you have access to them. So you have access. We're talking mostly about the DDR prime right now, but so that if you have those meltdowns, you can reach there and grab for it quickly and address whatever's going on, because kids experience stress just like the rest of us as we're out and about, obviously. She encouraged addition of a probiotic. doTERRA has a really great one that's kind of like a pixie stick, the PB Assist Junior, so the kids can just pretty much drink it, but drink it like candy. And then, because she wanted to emphasize that gut health is linked to emotional health, which we're learning more and more about, which I really want to talk on eventually. And Jennifer knows this, how our gut health, how sugar really affects our emotional health more. So I'll talk more about that someday. And then she just encourages setting really good boundaries, which in relationships is key, but also teaching our kids to do for themselves. So saying no to too many activities, to allow for free play outside when possible, to allow for creativity and that type of thing as well. Naturally exhausting their bodies so they sleep better at night, limiting the toxic load from electronics. And I think that was most of what I had. But I wanted to touch on that because I've never talked much about DDR Prime, but when I started using it, I just added it to my regular protocol of vitamins and the oils I was doing throughout the day, because I thought, well, it's supposed to be really good for everything on a deeper level. However, I had no idea how helpful it would be for sleep and reducing overall stress, helping me focus. I almost forgot to do my afternoon dose, and I was writing out some of my notes, and then I remembered I forgot to take my afternoon dose of DDR Prime, and so I took that this afternoon, and voila, I was more focused and able to get stuff done, because I definitely deal with some ADHD where my brain is very inattentive and squirrel moments happen a lot. So I'm going to wrap up because this has been plenty long, but I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. If you have questions, please feel free to comment or shoot me a message personally on my private messenger, or you can also reach out to Jennifer Davis as well, and I'm sure she'll be happy to answer your questions. And don't forget, today's BOGO is buy Petitgrain, get lavender free. They're both right around a $23, $24 value. So if you want help accessing that, I'm sure Jennifer or myself would be happy to help you. So thank you. And next time, hopefully I'll be talking about sugar and how that affects our bodies and our emotional health. Thank you guys. Bye.